G'day and welcome to NZFPV Ground Station. Today's video is a video on a build on a 250 quadcopter, racing quadcopter. So we've got all the parts out here. I'll just go through them all. We've got our frame kit here, our ESC, which is 12 amp Simmons. We've got our motors. We've got our receiver. Flight controller, FPV gear, camera, transmitter, aerial. We've got a low power battery monitor, a cable to reroute our aerial for our FPV system, a toroid coil, a capacitor, and that's to filter out any noise through the FPV system, stops you from getting lines and that, and also some cable. So what we're going to do to begin with, we're going to put the motors and ESCs on the arms first. Now that we've got all four motors bolted onto four arms, the first arm here I've already put the ESC on, and the other three I've put the motors on. So what I've got to do now is put ESCs on each of these arms, and got to make sure that we've got two pairs of clockwise and two pairs of counterclockwise, and we'll put those ESCs on now. Right, that's all the ESCs soldered up. Underneath each one of the arms I've mounted counterclockwise with the tape, and also clockwise. Now we need a pair of each, a pair of counterclockwise and a pair of clockwise. It's very important that you mark it at this stage, because you'll be very unhappy when you install it and then you find out you've got to take the whole frame to pieces to swap the two motors around. Now the next stage is we're going to bolt it to the underside of the frame, just temporary, so we can wire up all these ESCs together. Now that we've got our arms all bolted into the frame, it's only bolted in temporary, because what I'm going to do next is solder all these power wires together and make a wiring power harness, and it's going to be underneath, covered out of the way, so it makes it a little bit more tidier. So underneath, we've got counterclockwise, clockwise motor, and different orientations. Now, when you do a quad, obviously you've got clockwise, counterclockwise, counterclockwise and clockwise. No, hang on, that's clockwise, and this is counterclockwise. So at this stage, since this quad can be turned either way, either this can be the front or that be the back, as long as you've got the motors in the right orientation, it doesn't matter if you swing it around the other way, the orientation is still going to be the same. So we'll do that wiring harness now. Now that we've got our wiring all sorted out underneath, now it's time to sandwich it on. Now before we put the other plate on, we've got to put these spacers in, and underneath belt before we sandwich in, we're going to get those in. So we'll do that now. Now that we've got our spacers on, we can now join the two bottom halves together. Right, I've got the frame together now. Now the next step is installing in the flight controller, and we'll do that with a bit of double-sided foam tape. Now we've got the flight controller on, we've got all the connections connected up. So it's connected as 1, 2, 3, 4 motors. Now also at the same time I'm mounting my video transmitter onto the top plate, underneath the top plate, and we've got like an aerial extension cable, so we have a aerial poking out there, which is a mushroom type. And also what I've done here too, in here is a connection for your video camera. There's a toroid coil and a capacitor. This part here is a noise suppression, and when you want to take the cover off, the top plate off, we've got two JST connectors, so you can just pull off easy without having to try get around the wires and that if you leave them, you know, too short, and that can be a bugger, but it's made to be accessible. So we're going to finish this plate off, and then we'll get on to the next stage. Rightio, the stages, we've mounted the aerial for the FPV video transmitter on the back, and it's got a coax extender cable going to your video transmitter, so it makes it all nice and tidy. And also I've mounted the a 4-channel FR Sky receiver onto the flight controller. I only need 4 channels because most of the tuning will be done up through the computer. You only need the extra 2 channels if you want to change modes and that, but in this quad I'm not going to worry about that. It'll be all done on the computer, and we can use the dual rays to make it smoother or more crisp to fly. And now what I'm going to do next is mount the camera onto the plate here. Right, that's the camera installed. I've installed it with hot glue, which doesn't bother with the nuts and bolts, and you can see it's on a slight angle, which is right for when you're doing FPV racing. So it angles the camera up when your quad's tilting when it's going forward flight. And also I've put up a heat shrink on the post there to accommodate the wires that are going to the receiver, and also the wire to the camera unit plug into the transmitter module, so it makes it easier to later on when I want to take the top plate off, I can unplug it and access it easy. But the way I've done it is that you can have easy access to the USB port through the back, so there's nothing to get in the way, so it makes it a lot easier to plug it in and tune it up when necessary. Now that the receiver's all hooked up, I put up a heat shrink just to keep the wires nice and tidy, and I've put a plug on the back, and also on the top half I put a battery checker, so that it's got an alarm going off at a certain voltage to let you know, give you an audio award if your battery's getting pretty low. So what we're going to do next is to fit this on the top and connect all the wires together. Rightio, everything's all bolted together, all hooked up. I put the battery in, everything's all ready to go to program up through the computer. What I'm going to do next is just measure up the weight of it with the battery on, and also with the battery off, and give it see how much it weighs. Here is the weight of the quadcopter without the battery. It's 431 grams. And here is with the 15 milliamp hour for 40C LiPo at 538 grams. Now that we've got everything plugged into the computer, we can now start programming the controller. This is a CC3D controller, so I'm using OpenPilot to set it up with. So what we're going to do first is go Vehicle Setup Wizard, and then you come to a dialog, and then I press enter, and then enter, then enter again. PWM, which is our normal receiver for each individual channels, so we go enter. We're a multi-roller, quad X, that's what we are. So we go enter. We're going to go to standard ESC, so we go enter. Enter. I'm just having a little bit of issues with this computer because it's a small computer, and also sometimes on the screen you can't see on the bottom. Now that we've got onto the calibration side, this is basically calibrating your neutral for your motor. So what you got to do is it'll calibrate each motor. It'll tell you on there which motor is going to go first. So what we're going to do is press start, and then that slider keep increasing that slider, keep increasing it until that motor spins up. You just do that until it starts spinning up. I say 1165, that's fine. That's going in the right direction. So we'll go next. Oops, we'll go next. Now we've got that motor there. So I'm thinking that it'll be 1165. We just want it so when the motor comes in. That's right, 1170. And that one now, oh, that's going in the right direction. Then we'll go to the next one. And then we'll try it again. So we can go start. 11, so we go all the way to 1170. They should be almost the same. Stop. We start again. That's that motor there, that's your rear motor, which corresponds, so it's spinning that way. So now we go to next, our last motor. So we just keep spinning up until it starts starting up. Some of them are different. Just keep going until that motor there starts turning on. So we've got the value, and that one there is going around that way, which is correct. So now we can go next. Right, the point of all this calibration for your motors, you've got to tell the ESC at what point when the motor starts up. Some motors can be identical, and some can be just slightly out. It's just a matter of calibration. That so we've calibrated all the motors. So now we're going to go to next. Now we've got an option. Since there's some that have already been marked on there, so we're going to go see what kind of frames we've got. You could actually set up, a lot of people have already set up as what's been set up there, so it takes the guesswork out of your PID settings and that. So what we're going to do is find out one that's similar. I'll say that one there is similar to what we got. So we'll go next, and then what we're going to do is save the configuration to your controller there. So now we're into setup, a transmitter setup. So that's where I got my transmitter. Incidentally, my transmitter is a single stick, so you got throttle on the side here, and you got your elevator, ailerons, and rudder on the stick. So we're going to start by turning our radio on. Give it a signal, So now we're going to go to radio setup. We'll go to next. Oh, bear in mind the screen, as you notice, it's a smaller screen, so all your next and back buttons are down below where you can't see it, where it's hidden. So we go. Oh, hang on. Go. Where are we? Radio. Hang on, just got to lift that up. Let's see where we are. Oh, yep, go finished. Oh, transmitter setup, yep. Right, always the same. Start transmitter setup. So we'll go next. Now, a normal, we got a helicopter. It's going to be this is a JR helicopter radio, but it's ain't going to be using 4 channels, so it's really only just a basic aero mode. So press next. We're on mode 2 because this is a mode 2 type of radio. The only difference is that you haven't got your throttle and your rudder on this stick here, and your ailerons and your elevator on the stick here, but also the rudder. So it's classes a mode 2 to a degree. So we'll go to next. Right, that's our throttle. Go up, down. Now we've got your aileron. Now your elevator. And then our rudder. Now we don't have a switch on here, so this is only a 4 channel radio, so we'll go next. Rightio, I had a little bit of problems with the FR 4 channel receiver. I couldn't get it to calibrate on the transmitter, even though I tried to trick it, there was a 5 channel. So since I haven't got another a 6 channel FR receiver, I only got a 4, so I've changed my radio to my Spectrum DX6i, that's a single stick, and put a 6 channel Spectrum receiver in here. So everything's all calibrated, and what I've done here is we've got all our settings here, and also our flight mode settings. I've got a 2 position switch, so it's set to stabilization 1 when you flick the switch, is your attitude, which is self-leveling, and your yaw always locked, and stabilize 3, because it only switches between 1 and 3. You got V bar and access lock. So basically it tells it to make it look feel like it's a flybarless helicopter, and now the next stage is to test it out and see what it's like. Right, that concludes today of our build up of the 250 quad, and also the basic setup. I had a little bit hit and miss, like it wasn't, when I first tried it, it wasn't leveling out. I thought it was level, but it was trying to level out, but it kept on making it worse. And also one of the propellers, you got to check to make sure they're all right. I had one that was in reverse, and I couldn't make out why it kept on flipping over all the time. So it's just a little minor things in that. But I hope on the other YouTube channels there's basic and deep how to set one of these up properly. I've only just given you just a basic step in that, and of course I've had like hits and misses. Try to use a radio gear with a 4 channel receiver, which I thought I could make it work, but it didn't. But it needed like an extra 5 channels to make that work. So I've changed it to the Spectrum DX6, the cut all ties, since I already had a 6 channel receiver, and it made just a lot easier rather trying like dicky around trying to get it to work again. But you can make these work on a 4 channel radio. But that's it for today. Bye for now.